Hi, everyone, and welcome back to No Hidden Agenda TV, sponsored by Caesars Entertainment. Today, I have a dear friend of mine in studio here at Solomon Productions from Europe, and we have met years ago via MPI, Meeting Professionals International, for those of you who are not familiar with MPI. And over the years, we've served on boards together, but most importantly, we've had really great conversations around the transformation of our industry and continue to have those conversations. And that's what today's discussion is going to be all about. So before we dive into transformation talk, I would like for Krzysztof to go ahead and introduce himself. Chris, tell us a little bit about your extensive background in our industry and how you service our industry.
Always I was dreaming about stage. Let me start like this because it's no hidden agenda, so I should tell also about some stories. I was dancing 20 years and I was dreaming about dancing on all of the stages all around the world. Finally I woke up and I decided, Chris, you will not be a dancer the whole life. And I jump into the events industry, and this is what I'm doing 20 years later. Currently I have the pleasure to lead and be the rector of the Vistula School of Hospitality, which is a private hospitality school in Warsaw, in Poland. 1,000 students, 140 countries, a really global community. I'm passionate about volunteering. This is how we've met with Sarah, thanks to MPI, where we are part of the board. And I must say I keep traveling and love different experiences. That's why we've met here today.
Yeah, so Chris is an educator. He is an industry leader. He's a wonderful speaker and presenter. And, I think this is why the conversations that we have are always so interesting. And when we leave, we feel like, wow, we've solved a lot of the world's problems when it comes to our industry, at least. So having you here is a treat. And because we have you here, I really want to dive into this word of transformation. I feel like transformation is something that our industry undergoes every year, almost every day, it seems. And even more so now in such a fast-moving landscape. We are transitioning into event experiences, not just hosting a conference. When you bring attendees across the world, or even just on a 2-hour flight and they land, they want to feel the experience that they're a part of. So can you dig into some of the transformative experiences and how event professionals are now doing this, or what they can be doing better to present experiences to people?
After the COVID, they started thinking about what they are doing in life, how they consume the time, what do they eat, where do they meet, with whom they want to stay in touch. I don't know how about you, but during last couple of months or years, my list of, let's say, friends and colleagues also has been transformed. Why? I challenged myself and, for example, to call someone, but also I was waiting for a call. If no one called me for a year, it's like with a shoes or jacket. If you are not using the shoes for 1 year, that means you don't need it anymore. The same I truly feel is with the events. I came back here to Orlando for the event, which is first time ever organized, in fact, bringing 50, 60 professors from all around the world, theoretical background, how the events are changing. So this is a transformation, at least from my point of view, from event management to event experiences, to change the content, the topic. What is important for us? Is it a creativity of the event? Is this a content? And they are, for example, two most important aspects that I'm trying to teach next generation of students. For example, what is creative for you, Sarah, doesn't have to be creative for me, or probably for us it's the same, but not for the others. Creativity is something that we are looking for. We are overwhelmed with everything what's happening online, but also offline. So sometimes small steps, small changes in the event design, I think can transform us in a way A or way B.
I love that. And I like that you mentioned small changes, because I think what tends to happen with event organizers is they get so overwhelmed with all of the changes that they should be making to their events. And a lot of times they're working with small staff, limited budget. So any examples of like small steps to take to implement into an event that can really help transform it to its core?
I love time management. From my perspective, this is so crucial. For example, scientific conferences. Usually, we professors, we travel, we speak. That means usually we have 15-20 minutes for a presentation, and next one, and next one, and next one. And at the end of the day, you have 1 hour for a chit chat or for an informal meeting. Example, when in the agenda it's 5 p.m., that means 5:15 I start another meeting. And a lot of people are doing this. Informal meeting, drinking good espresso or coffee, or going for a run together, or playing golf together in the morning. If I'm here, I'm here. If I'm sitting with you, let's do not check emails, let's focus on a glass of coffee, and let's use this even 5 minutes. It's like with our meeting. We created the idea 2.5 weeks ago, and 2 weeks later we are sitting in Orlando. So time management is number one. Number two, organize something that I will, as an attendee, I will feel special, that I decided to use my time, private or business time, to come and to change my local environments. We know you came from this part of the world, so we planned your presentation tomorrow in the afternoon, but also we help you with the transfer. Small, funny things that can help and feel that the organizer was really considering you as an important person.
So I think sometimes what happens is event organizers get caught in the middle of these conversations between they want to reinvent and transform, but that requires more. And that more piece comes from, approvals. So I want to focus on the if it's not broken, let's not fix it kind of mentality, especially with associations as we look into the future. Are association models really sustainable? And if the answer is yes, what do we need to do to keep evolving that as we look to the next generation? I mean, you're an educator, you work with the incoming, right, of our industry and past that too. So what does that look like for associations with their current models if things don't transform and change?
I think the biggest challenge is now for me last year as a rector of the school was to understand that younger people, students, they are honest, direct, but polite. If they don't like, they leave. Every single time I ask them, give me the list, what you like, what you didn't like, etc. Time management was one of them. The formats, absolutely not too long, for example. Bring next generation of people to the decision makers table. Young people need to have the chance to speak. We need to learn how they work, these younger people, let's say like this, because and they need to understand our game as well. But this is what's happening at the university more and more. So student advisory council or student scientific council or students clubs. I challenge myself this time. One of the lady who is a chairwoman of the student club, she said to me in September, please trust me more. And I challenge myself every month when we've been running an event, an activity. I said, Chris, wait, listen to her first. Let's give her the power. Just finished the graduation for 700 people. 2 weeks ago, it was not ready as I wanted to be. She called me, she said, it will be ready, give me my time, I'm doing this my way. She did it, she delivered 48 hours ago. So we need to, I think, learn each other, but these are the elements that in my opinion, associations need to go this direction.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in our world, where we add value to associations, typically in the way that we collaborate with them is to help them in their retention efforts with members, but then also the recruitment efforts. And it's so interesting because you do see the recruitment piece being an issue because they are challenged with that communication barrier of, well, what are we doing wrong? Why are we not valuable enough to people that, we're trying to get investments from? And it's just that, right? It's like we're not listening. We're doing more of the talking, the communicating, which is where we would come in, versus the listening. Are these incoming students and event professionals thinking about associations differently than we and the generations before us have traditionally thought of?
I have the pleasure to teach in the US, in France, in China, and in Poland. It doesn't matter where. Why I should become a member? Why? My students, postgraduate students, master degree, average age is 37, 40 years old. They are from the industry. They are not younger. This is another approach. What we can give them? Education. If we're talking about our events industry education, yes. What's the balance between events industry education, certificates, for example, or certification, and academia? Because what has changed after our lockdown, that to work in our industry, you don't need to graduate from the hospitality school. We need to be more open, live communication, experiences, which is the word that I'm trying to change from event to experience, to touch, to feel, to learn, absolutely yes. We have a lot of things in this industry that we can give. For example, leaders. This is the industry where people are, generally speaking, open. So if you approach, most of the people globally, they will find time. 2 minutes on Zoom or half an hour with coffee. And it's easier for them to connect to these people via associations. But absolutely, this is the added value. They are people around a brand with a huge potential content, and they want to share. The question is how to invite the fresh blood, let's say like this.
Yeah, love that. There was so much conversation, and there still is, about finding the right talent. Again, you with your profession and what you live every single day, not only in Poland at the school, but in general, as you educate around the world. What are you seeing companies do really well to retain, but then also recruit talent?
More and more listening, which is challenging for the older generations because we've been there, we've done this, etc. And we don't have time for experimenting because time is money. However, companies which are listening, they are more successful. Number two, listen different approaches. Our university in the whole country, it's the most global university. So if you have 140 different nationalities plus 20 religious and different holidays every second week, this is quite unique. I think the world is smaller and smaller. More and more people, they don't have problem at all to work from doesn't matter where. And changing this, I'm not talking about digital nomads only. However, I will be working 2 years in the US just to taste how Orlando, Washington DC and Boston is going, and later I really enjoy cuisine in Africa, so I'm going to move there. And lastly, less is more. As I notice, young people, they don't really want to have these numbers on the account. They want to feel that they are part of something, mission of the company, open-minded, more listening, being open to global initiatives, and if something is new, let's try. It doesn't mean it must be the way like we've done it for last 20 years.
Mm-hmm. So, as parting words or final words, when we look at transformation as a whole, ideally, where would you like to see the industry really focus on this keyword of transformation?
Because I'm the globetrotter and I keep traveling. I love the I, which is international. I think consolidation with several initiatives in our industry which are in the place. Bigger doesn't mean always better. Several associations are doing exactly the same thing, so let's work together around one table. Number two, open for new partners around the table. We need to remember about Africa, we need to remember about Asia. I truly believe, maybe because I'm older and older, that human-to-human connections are really important. We need to believe that the world is small. We need to be nice to each other. We need to try to work the best that we can, but we need to be honest. If it's not working, let's say, okay, Sarah, thank you. We are not working anymore together. Yes, thank you, Chris. See you next year or never. I think this is, like, honestly, in the industry is, from the global perspective, quite important.
And to your earlier point, small changes, right? Everything that you just mentioned should not be difficult to accomplish, but will make a really great impact if put into good practice. Yeah. So,
Exactly.
yeah. And really taking advantage of the fact that the world isn't as big as we think it is. It is getting smaller.
We are the example meeting today in Orlando, so
Yeah.
this was a good chat.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for making the time, for being intentional. As we mentioned earlier, we had this conversation at MPI's WEC in Louisville about 2.5 weeks ago, and here we are sitting, and making it happen. So it's really the time management, being intentional about having these really good conversations to help our industry transform. So, Chris, thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here in Orlando. And next time, hopefully, we'll have this conversation on your side of the world in Poland.
Absolutely. See you next time in Orlando, in Poland, or online.
We'll see you guys again soon.